Hello! Today we're going to talk about books, and we all know we want to read more books, and there are a lot of techniques out there about fast reading, how to memorize better, but what about what kind of books to choose from? When I started reading when I was 24, I started from going through the bookstore, going through the whole list of top shelves and reading randomly from all over, but some research found that there are different effects based on the type of books you read, and no matter how fast you can read, if the books are not giving you the effect you want, some kind of skills you want, then it's not meaningful. It's a waste of time no matter how many books you choose. So today I want to talk about what type of books that give you the most skills that you want. So why should you read books to start with? Back in 2018, University of Jyväskylä, it's Finnish. They look up 2,525 students for the span of 9 years, from grade 1 to 9, and they try to find a relation between the reading comprehension and reading fluency and the amount of leisure books they read. So reading comprehension is simple, how much meaning can you get it out accurately, and reading fluency is more like fast reading technique. So how fast you can recognize the characters as well as chunking the sentences into meaningful chunks. So I'm talking about dogs. Say the sentences, I'm talking about the dogs. I'm talking about the dogs. So those are chunking, and you do it mostly automatically, but some people do it faster. That's why the speed reading technique focuses on how fast you can recognize those words without reading it out in your mind. So they try to find a relation between that too, and what they found was there was a significant correlation between how much they read in their spare time and how much reading comprehension, reading fluency they have. It was something like 0.4, so maybe 16% relation for books. Books, as well as somewhat newspaper reading and comic book reading, they are effective as well. Slightly less, but still effective. Reading emails or messages with your friends or reading magazines were not that helpful. So reading books for your leisure time is definitely helpful. If you can read fast, then you can read more, and you can read faster, and you can read more, and it's like a positive loop. So you will be definitely better. I started reading again since 24 a lot, like maybe one book a week since then, but I definitely think if I read it earlier, like when I was still small, my school life would have been much easier. I was too busy thinking about, playing soccer or baseball. I was a sporty guy, so never wanted to stay home reading books, but it's definitely a skill that the earlier you get it, the better off you will be in the long term, because that skill is not going to go away. So book reading is good. So what are the type of books that exist? There are 4 types. The first one is fiction books. Those are romance, sci-fi, thriller genres. And what you see in the top 10 bestseller books, those are usually fiction. It was something like 94% of students in that Finnish study were reading fiction books as their choice. So unless you choose it consciously to read otherwise, I think you are also reading fiction books. So what they did was, one of the research done in 2013, it's University of Trento, it's Italian, and they took 86 participants and they had them read a portion of text from either fiction or nonfiction, and wanted to test how much empathy they have it impacted. So after reading that portion of text, they asked to identify the right emotion out of facial expression. So they see what this person is thinking based on how they're reacting, and try to identify if they're sad or like angry now, or contempt, or proud. So that's the facial expression and empathy. And what they found was reading fiction was a lot more effective than reading nonfiction to boost their empathy skills. I want to have a word about empathy, like what's about empathy. A school teacher would have told you you need to have empathy for others, but how does it help you by having more empathy? There was also another study done by University of Geneva back in 2016. So all these studies are very recent, within the past 5 or 10 years. So what they found was they studied 400 people from age between 10 to 87 for 12 years, so it's a pretty long time. And they asked how happy they are with their lives. What they found was those with higher empathy had better life satisfaction, as well as more healthier relationships with other people. They also found the higher you have with empathy, the more meaningful you have with other people's interaction. For those people, if they start making a small conversation with staff at Starbucks, they will actually can connect at the emotional level. Daily life becomes much more rich in that way. So the original researchers speculated, why does reading novels or fiction boost your empathy? And what they speculated was, in the daily life, we're so accustomed to conventions, stereotype, and we don't actually open our emotion that much, or open our feeling that much. So say if you go to job tomorrow and everybody asks how was your weekend, and you're supposed to say not too deep but not too shallow. So you're supposed to say something like, oh, not too bad, or you just went out to the park. You're not gonna say I'm having this difficult moment in my life, and having such a hard time dealing with family issues. That's too much. So you never touch the deep side of humans in daily life. But by reading fictions, it does bring out that emotional side of people. It's very descriptive about human minds. So that's how they boost your ability to look at one thing from another person's perspective. So that's fiction. It's powerful. The second type of book is literary fiction. So they're both fiction, but the difference with literary fiction is it's a lot more complex. So while popular fiction, like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, the characters are quite straightforward. They're always bad guy and the good guy, and the bad guy is supposed to be evil and the good guy is gonna win over, and it's happy ever after. Whereas classic literature is more, literary fiction is more like each side of characters has their own good and bad, and they have to deal with a different situation. It's hard to tell who's a good guy, and there's no climax and happy ending ever after. It's usually a little thinking left behind after reading it. These are the type of books that give you in English class. Examples would be, Animal Farm, George Orwell's, My Favorite Brave New World or like Catcher in the Rye. Those are considered classic literature. It doesn't have to be classic, but most of the good literary fictions tend to be classic. They are like last long. Shakespeare can fall into this category as well. The earlier researchers also did, on top of fiction versus nonfiction, they did popular fiction versus literary fiction and saw the impact between the two. And they did find literary fiction giving you a higher impact in the empathy boost. So if you can choose, I would go with classic literary fiction. For these ones, you don't find it in the top shelves at the bookstore. You have to find like beforehand what kind of books you want, and then order it directly, or you can go to the library in that case. So the third type of books are poetry. So poetry is an area that speed reading does not work because it's so short, and because it's so short, you have to imagine a lot of missing pieces, and you have to use your brain's imagination a lot, and it has a really good effect into boosting the creativity side of your brain. It has the best effect in giving you the empathy boost in poetry. So I'll give you an example. There's a famous poet, Emily Dickinson, from United States, and she said, for each ecstatic instant, we must anguish pay in keen and quivering ratio to the ecstasy. So you might think, do you really have to feel misery the same way you feel joy? Like, is it always the same timing, or when do you feel such moment? Like, did you experience it before? You can always think of these pieces and like connect the dot in your head. Try to make more meaning out of it. There is an app, Daily English Poem, or there's a lot of haiku app as well that you can easily check out the poem on your smartphone. So you can, on your way to work or school, you can just open up the app and check it out. The good thing is it's short, so it's all up to you to how much time you want to spend thinking about that particular point and find a meaning out of it. So those are. I'm still working on poetry to myself. It's a little bit challenging to me too. Like, I didn't grow up reading poems, so I'm only slowly getting myself into reading poems. The fourth type of book is nonfiction. So nonfiction can be broken down into three more categories. First one is career oriented. If you go to school now, so you can include textbook as well. The aim of reading a textbook is to get a better score at school or course and graduate with better GPA, for example. So you know exactly what you want out of it. The best way to read this kind of material is to go to the exam, like former exam, and look at the questions and work backward, like what kind of information you need to look out for from those books. The beauty is you don't need to read from the beginning to the end for these books. You just need to find the particular information from it. If you are working now, then these reading boost your career success. So say you are a marketer, you will be reading about word of mouth marketing, brand management marketing, or SEO. Those will help you get ahead in the market, and maybe you get a better promotion. So these books are really helpful. The second type of book is self-help. So these are how-to books. So I just finished reading about Why We Sleep. It was by Matthew Walker. It teaches you why we need to sleep, what is the danger of not sleeping, and how you can sleep better. It was a really good book. I started taking a hot bath every night after reading that book. It's really helpful to sleep better. Others are diet. how to lose weight, how to run faster, how to eat healthier so you live longer, or how to talk with your friends. There are a lot of relationship type self-help books, such as Dale Carnegie's like How to Win Friends and Influence People. I want to talk about the difference between self-help relationship books and novel reading books. The analogy I like is cooking. So say you want to cook something, novel would give you all kind of food to try from. Say there's a pear pie, which I never tried it, but the novel would teach you how delicious pear pie might be for you, and it's so sweet and creamy and delicious. It melts in your mouth, it says. So you decide you want to try pear pie. So you look into self-help for technicality, like tactics, how to make a pear pie. It teaches you the recipe. You need 40 grams of pears and you need to put it into ovens for 40 minutes and make a delicious pear pie. So these go hand in hand really well. So it's nice to read both at the same time. Nonfiction is quite easy to read. They're well summarized and point forms are nice, done. I started off with self-help a lot for my leisure reading, so I do recommend you starting from there if you're new to book reading. The third type of book is general knowledge, so it can be science or history books, or AI revolution books. SpaceX launched a rocket recently, and you might wonder, can we go to Mars soon? Like, is it 5 years or 10 years or 20 years or 30 years? These general knowledge book will help you understand what's happening in the world and help you read the news with more depth knowledge, and it can help you predict the future better. The part that you need to be cautious is you can be stuck reading all this general knowledge, but it's infinite, and you can be stuck being a generalist and can't get your life move ahead. So just be cautious on that, digging too much into generalist type of knowledge. Nonfiction book overall helps you with picking the information that you need exactly from the text. It helps you with skimming skills and getting the information accurately, and you can never get away from it. Recent coronavirus, the government says they'll give you all this money, but they're not gonna send it right away to your bank. You still need to look at the requirement and fill out the form correctly, and then you finally apply to get it, maybe. So you need to be able to read, and it's a life skill to have. It's like turning your brain to Google. Google will help you find the websites based on your questions, but from the website you still need to read and find the information from there. That's a skill you can gain from reading nonfiction in general. To summarize, fiction will boost your empathy skill, and it improves your overall well-rounded lifestyle with your friends, your family. You will have less conflict with people. With empathy, you can understand the motivation that people have, so you might be able to, you will be able to sell better, because you need to find out what people want in order to be able to sell. So it's a skill that way. Or you won't get into stupid conflict with your girlfriend, and you upload something of the past, and you didn't get a comment, and you feel sad, and that's just because you're not understanding from that person's perspective, which is maybe she was just busy with job, or just didn't open an Instagram. That kind of conflict can be avoided easily by boosting your empathy skill. With nonfiction, you'll be able to extract out information right away and use that information tomorrow to improve your life. That's always the best to keep in mind. Instead of just reading randomly of all these nonfiction books, actually implement that knowledge to your daily life, so that the knowledge sticks to your behavior and it will be like long-lasting improvement. So those are the 4 types of books. I hope it helps. Thanks for watching.